let's take a step back to our earlier story having to do with the earth tremor that shook parts of Accra a few minutes ago. We want to pick the thoughts of a seismologist and whether or not around this time is expected. In fact, can they predict when these tremors are expected and what measures could be put in place? Nicholas Opoku, seismologist, joining us for a quick chat on this. Mr. Opoku, good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What information have you been able to pick up so far regarding the tremor?
Yes, so far we are gathering all the necessary data. So we are in the field gathering all the necessary data to be able to analyze, to know where the earthquake occurred, that is the epicenter, the source. We'll know how big was the event, because that is very, very important. We want to know, at the moment we've not had any information of any damage, but we still want to know how our building responded, our infrastructure responded to this particular shaking. And in that case, we need to know how big the event was, whether it was a small shaking or it's a big shaking. So those information, I will ask listeners to bear with us for a while. We'll bring all those details after we have done a thorough analysis.
Right, but are we able to, as a country, do we have the necessary gadgets, equipment to be able to predict these kinds of developments?
Yeah, we have a few equipment installed. I won't say they are sufficient, but then we have few of them installed which we are using for analysis. Right? But recently we are having a problem with our satellite transmission system, and we've made a case for us to convert from the satellite to using cell modem, that's moving with a SIM card for the transmission, because the satellite is giving us a lot of headache. So that's what we are working on with.
So you mean you are challenged?
So very soon we will get all those things addressed so that we'll be able to give real-time information when it comes to some of these things.
Right, and when we put out the question asking people who may have experienced it, a number of the comments came from around Weja, McCarthy Hill, Bawe, them areas. Those are the places that the information is coming from, but from the information you've picked up so far, which other parts of Accra may have recorded or experienced this tremor?
Hello, come again. The line is not very clear.
I'm asking which parts of Accra, apart from Weja, Bawe, McCarthy Hill areas, experienced this tremor, if you know.
So far, we will not be able to give the details about that. We want to get to know the exact source of the earthquake, know even the nature of earthquake that occurred, know the magnitude, then we'll be able to tell which radius or which areas experience the shaking more and which areas have a minimal shaking. So we want to do our intensity assessment over the whole of Accra or even the whole of Ghana, then we'll be able to know the areas that felt it more and the areas which had the least shaking.
Right, and finally, any quick piece of advice for people who may be in areas that are very likely to be prone to earthquakes and tremors?
Yeah, so, when a series of tremors occurred in 2018 and 2020, if you remember, the president set up a committee to investigate that, which I happened to be part of it. And the issues that came out was that, unfortunately, we are already exposed to the sources or the areas where these earthquakes have been occurring, or our fault lines. We have already built on all of them. So we are already exposed to the shaking. And to reduce exposure at the moment is a big challenge, because you have a huge settlement in your earthquake-prone area, then your risk is very high. And how we are going to reduce the risk by reducing exposure will be a long-term measure. So we are looking at long-term assessment of vulnerability, and then we can work on it to reduce exposure. But what we have been doing at the moment is advising or educating people to know what to do during an earthquake, because that also helps in reducing a disaster risk as much as possible. So what people should do during an earthquake. Most often, people will tell you, oh, I ran away from my room and whatever.
Yes.
All those practices are not advisable because, as a lot of people have now realized, the earthquake shaking takes only a short time.
Okay.
At most 1 minute. Okay. And so some few seconds, your building will collapse. So as soon as you feel the earthquake,
since you are still waiting for more information about today's tremor, we'll definitely be coming back to you subsequently for an update, and then maybe we can intensify public education and advice. Thank you for speaking to us. Nicholas Opoku is a seismologist, talking about the experience that some of you may have had today about that earth tremor. Details on our website, 3news.com. Subsequent bulletins will also update you on what happened earlier today.